Level 1, the awakening. You check your bank account on a Tuesday morning, $847. That's it. That's everything you have after a month of work. You stare at that number and something shifts inside you. Not anger, not shame, something colder, clarity. You realize your paycheck isn't building anything, it's just delaying disaster. You've been saving for 2 years, putting money aside like a good person, following the rules, skipping the restaurants, canceling the subscriptions, and you have $847. The math doesn't work, and you finally see it. Saving without investing is just slow losing. You open a new tab, and you start reading. Level 2, the first rule. You learn the first thing nobody teaches you in school. Money sitting still is money dying. Inflation eats 3% every year. Your savings account gives you 0.01%. You're losing while you think you're winning. You write it down on a piece of paper and tape it above your desk. Idle money is bleeding money. You read about compound interest for the first time, not the textbook version, the real version. $1,000 invested at 10% annually, 10 years later, $2,593. 20 years, $6,727. 30 years, $17,449. You didn't touch it, you didn't work for it, it just grew. You sit back in your chair, your hands are slightly shaking, not from fear, from the realization that you've been sleeping, and now you're awake. Level 3. Building the base. You open your first brokerage account on a Sunday night. The screen asks you things you've never been asked before. Risk tolerance, investment horizon. You don't know the answers yet, but you don't close the tab. You figure it out. You start with the basics. Index funds, S&P 500. You put in $200, not because $200 will change your life, because the act of doing it will. You watch the number move for the first time, up $1.43 on Monday, down $3.12 on Tuesday. You feel a surge of panic on Tuesday, then you breathe, you go back to what you read. Don't watch it every day, you're not a trader, you're a builder. You close the app, you go to work, you add another $50 the following Friday, small, consistent, quiet. Nobody around you knows what you're doing. That's fine, they don't need to. Level 4, the system. 3 months in. Your account has $750 in it. You've automated the transfers. Every payday, $100 moves without you touching it. You don't see it. You don't feel it leave. But it's there, accumulating. You've read 3 books now. The Psychology of Money, The Little Book of Common Sense Investing, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You don't agree with all of it, but you're learning to think differently. You start tracking your net worth on a spreadsheet, not just your bank balance, your assets, your contributions, your projected growth. You see the line for the first time, the curve. It starts flat. It stays flat for a long time, and then it bends. Slowly at first, then sharply. You zoom in on year 15 of the projection. You zoom out fast. Because what you see doesn't feel real, but the math says it is. Level 5, the upgrade. 6 months in, you've maxed your emergency fund, 3 months of expenses, sitting in a high-yield savings account at 4.8%, not invested, protected. That distinction matters now. You understand the difference. You open a Roth IRA. You learn about tax-advantaged growth. You learn that the government will not touch certain gains if you play the long game correctly. You feel like you've found a room in a building you've lived in your whole life, a room nobody mentioned. You move $500 into it. You set a goal to max the annual limit, $7,000. You break it down, $583 a month. You adjust your budget. You cut things you thought you couldn't cut. You find money you didn't think existed. It existed. You were just spending it unconsciously, not anymore. Level 6, the risk conversation. 8 months in, your total invested portfolio is $4,200. You feel it now, a different kind of presence, not the money itself, the possibility of the money. You start reading about individual stocks. You read about people who turn $10,000 into $200,000 picking the right company at the right time. Something stirs. You want more. You want it faster. You allocate 10% of your portfolio to individual picks. $420, you research, you read earnings reports, you study charts you barely understand. You buy 3 stocks, one drops 18% in a week. You don't panic sell, but you feel it. The difference between index fund investing and this. One is a slow river, the other is a current that could carry you somewhere beautiful. or pull you under. You decide the river is where you live. The current is where you visit, carefully. Level 7. The identity shift. 1 year in, you don't think of yourself the same way anymore. You used to think about what things cost. Now you think about what things cost you. That $60 dinner doesn't cost $60. It costs $60 now, and $387 in 30 years. You don't say this out loud. People don't want to hear it, but you think it every time. You've started listening to earnings calls on your lunch break. Your coworkers talk about TV shows. You nod and smile, but you're somewhere else. You're in the numbers. You're in the decade ahead of you. You're building something invisible that nobody around you can see yet. That's the loneliest part, and the most powerful. Level 8. The acceleration. 18 months in, you got a raise. Old, you would have upgraded the apartment, bought the car, told yourself you deserved it. New, you does something different. You increase your automatic investment by 40%. You don't feel the raise in your lifestyle. You feel it in your portfolio. Your net worth crosses $10,000 for the first time. You don't celebrate loudly. You sit with it quietly for a moment. Then you open the spreadsheet, you update the number, you watch the projected curve shift. It's steeper now. Year 20 doesn't look the same as it did 18 months ago. You've changed the math. Not with luck. With choices nobody saw you make. Level 9. The cost of knowing 2 years in. You understand things now that make ordinary life feel strange. You watch someone finance a $35,000 car at 7% interest. You do the math in your head automatically. They'll pay $46,000 total. They'll drive a depreciating asset worth $18,000 by year 5. You don't say anything. You can't. You watch someone take a 2-week, all-inclusive vacation on a credit card at 24% APR. You watch someone tell you they don't have money to invest, and then order delivery 3 nights in a row. You're not angry. You're just somewhere else now. Knowledge is a door you can't unwalk through, and sometimes you miss not knowing. Sometimes you miss the simplicity of just spending, but you can't go back. The math won't let you. Level 10, the inflection point, 3 years in, $31,000 invested. Your portfolio generates more in a strong month than you made in your first job. Passively, while you slept, while you worked, while you lived. The compound curve has started to bend. You feel it in the numbers. You feel it in the way you breathe. There is less fear now. Not no fear, but less, because you have a floor. You built it yourself. Nobody handed it to you. You remember the Tuesday morning, $847. You remember staring at that number. You remember what it felt like to have nothing building. And you realize the only thing that changed between then and now wasn't income. It wasn't luck. It wasn't timing. It was the moment you stopped letting money sit still. Final level. The truth. Here's what they never tell you. The hardest part isn't the market. It isn't the stocks. It isn't the strategy. It's the waiting. It's the years where nothing feels like it's happening. It's the months where the market drops and every instinct says run. It's the birthdays and weddings and vacations where you do the math and choose differently and wonder if you're missing something. You're not missing something. You're building something. And the people who cash out early panic sell, skip the contributions, wait for the perfect moment. They're still at $847, different account. Same paralysis. You made a different choice, not once. Every month, every raise, every time fear showed up and you kept the automated transfer running anyway. That's not luck. That's not a secret. That's the entire game. And now you know how to play it.